Hey, welcome back to Polk Show Channel. Hey, earlier I recorded a little jam where I improvised over kind of a funk rhythm and played it back over my 70s, made in Japan, huge, stereo receiver, vintage 70s through some vintage Pokes. And I kind of grabbed the angle with my Zoom Q3 to get the best sound, but you couldn't see my fingers. So what I thought I'd do is explain some of the different scales and ideas that I used in that improvisation. And the whole point behind improvisation is that you do kind of let go and hopefully play one or two or three ideas you've never played before in exactly the same way. And that's what, for instance, great artists like Miles Davis used to love his guitar players to do that. People like Robin Ford and different people that played with Miles Davis. Miles Davis was very adamant about making sure you didn't just practice on stage. He wanted you to let go. He wanted you to take risks. And when you risk and let go, you play more from the unconscious or subconscious. Even Pat Metheny said all the interesting things are in the subconscious. So what you do is you kind of learn different ideas, and then when you go to improvise, you just kind of let go and just lightly think about some of those ideas and hopefully kind of string them together. So some of the ideas that I used jamming over this was I obviously was using some minor pentatonic ideas and sometimes converting that to a major scale that it comes from, as well as using other forms of that, that pentatonic, right? Like these, there's 5 forms of the minor pentatonic, and then being able to convert those at any time to the related major, right? And then also I was thinking a little bit about diminished. I was using some diminished. The half step, whole step scale. I think I also used at different places the double diminished. Stringing that stuff together. I wasn't afraid to throw in some kind of bluesy licks. I used some whole tone scales. What I was trying to do was kind of go outside and inside. I was kind of trying to go outside and play, with a little bit of tension, and then come back inside and do something a little more inside. The chords were like a minor 7 to I think a G sharp major 7, and I was messing with that, just kind of. But what I want to do, like I said, is this is going to be hard to do, to be honest with you. I'm going to try to play this again. I will not be able to duplicate what I did earlier where you can't see my fingers, and that's one of the reasons I did it that way. Like I said, I was going for a certain sound in terms of recording off my speakers, and because I was pretty much playing back with my Zoom Q3 just through my, one of these huge made in Japan stereo receivers. This one happens to be a Techniques. It sounds great though. It sounds very tube-like and analog, and then I was just playing through my like I said, my vintage Polk speakers, 5 Juniors, and then playing over that and recording it again on my Zoom Q3. And I was really happy with the tone I got, both of the recorded music and my guitar, and but you couldn't see my finger. So I'm going to do this again. It may not sound quite as good, but I actually think it helped me have some focus. I think just finding a sound helped me focus my guitar playing, and you can always try to imagine some of those licks in your mind's eye. Okay, let's try this, and I'm going to try to talk while I do this. This is going to be a little tricky, but it's probably not going to be as spontaneous as the other jam, because that's the whole idea. When you improvise, you're letting go, you're just trying to play and not think too much and just let it happen, let the music come through you. So now I'm going to be kind of speaking while I'm playing, so it's not going to have the same flow, it's not going to have the same fluidity, but it might be helpful to you guys to see some of the ideas I was working with. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so here's the rhythm track. Minor pentatonic. Now fill it in a little bit, as opposed to some extra kind of passing up. Now there I'm using the blues scale, right? This one. Little sequence. To a diminished. Blues riff, right? This form of the minor pentatonic. I was talking about using the whole tone scale, right? It has a lot of tension. So you want to resolve it pretty soon. Now here I was using a Charlie Parker riff. And then sometimes I'd kind of use that shape. Diminish arpeggio. Intervals. So when I'm talking, and it's simple little shapes like create lines that, okay. And I think at one point I used this idea. I used a minor 7 arpeggio to the polychord, which is the major 7. Okay. I used a Hungarian minor. Sometimes I add an extra note. I use that. Sometimes I use a 13 flat 9. Coming back. Little triads. See those little triads? Little melodies. Diminish arpeggio to the half step, whole step scale. And here's another diminished riff. That was augmented. Okay, so it's really, like I said, improvising. You don't sit there and talk about what you're doing while you're doing it. Improvising, you let go. And all the time that you've spent practicing. In other words, times when I sit down practicing things like this. And you practice linking ideas together. This is huge, folks. Don't just sit there and practice, one scale, scale sound. Practice a scale sound, and then go to something else. So I hope that's helpful to people. I also use this diminished arpeggio, but I used it coming down like some extra passing tones. Like a lot of what I did was go outside and then go back inside to either a minor pentatonic or a major scale. I also used this idea. That's just an A sharp major scale, and I mess with I think I did some kind of sequences. So again, my point, when you improvise, that's when all your practice, and that's why the Guitar Ladder system is so great. The Guitar Ladder system will expose you to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas, if not thousands, that you then kind of get to know. And then when you go to improvise, you've got all these different colors to work with, and you just kind of let go and let it happen. And I actually listened back to this thing that I did here, and even though you couldn't see my fingers, I'm very happy with it. there's some I don't know, 2 or 3 licks that I did there that I've never done in my life, so I'm very happy with it. And I was trying to play kind of laid back. I was trying not to, not to get too technical, but yet trying to be kind of cool and mildly interesting, hopefully, right? I'm happy with how it came out. But like I said, I know a lot of people were kind of sad you couldn't see my fingers. But again, I was going for tone, and once I got a certain tone between the guitar and the recorded sound of recording off my stereo, I kind of went with that angle because the speaker was coming out just in a way that was really giving me a good sound. So anyway, I hope this little tutorial is helpful to you, some of the scales and ideas. Like I said, I was going outside and inside using those different elements I just discussed. So I hope that's helpful, and enjoy that. And if you really want to take, your guitar playing to another level, big time, just order the Guitar Ladder system. It will be the best $199 you've ever invested. It's like getting thousands of dollars in instruction material. I really do believe it's the only system out there that's going to produce the kind of results that people want, because it kind of fertilizes your subconscious mind. It wakes up the musical mind, wakes up your musical ear, brings out your creativity, and wakes up the artist within. And that's true. I've sold over 2,000 courses. Letters come in every day. It works, folks. Don't overthink it. My suggestion is just order it. You can order at stevezookguitars.com. Thanks. And if you want a free sample, go to stevezookguitars.com. Look at the page a little bit, scroll down a little bit, fill out the little contact form on the home page. That will come right to me. I'll send you a couple free samples. Thanks. Bye-bye.